Ethereum is on fire, literally, as EIP 1559, something we've been telling you about on this channel for literally months, has not only come into the picture in a major way, but has already burned $1 million worth of Ethereum in one day. Can we imagine? By the way, this is at rock bottom fee structures. We're not getting congestion on the network, which is going to send those fees up per transaction and have way more transactions flowing. This is the beginning, the base, the bedrock of EIP 1559 and a deflationary Ethereum monetary policy. Strap in, because the triple halving for Ethereum is in full effect and it's starting to lead the market into a recovery. That's right, I'm feeling very, very bullish right now. And yes, we're going to talk about all the calls I've made over the last month, the wrong ones, the right ones, and the things that I believe are most important for the next few days and weeks of crypto land. You're definitely going to want to watch this one front to back as history is being made in front of your eyes. If you guys are excited for this one, destroy that like button. And of course, remember, each and every comment is entered to win your own hardware wallet. We're giving away the hardware wallet today at the end of the episode. Make sure you stick around. Just like non-fungible Tuesdays, we're going to be giving away stuff more and more. It's super fun to do. So make sure you watch this one front to back, destroy that like button, leave a comment, and remember, there are scammers in the comments pretending to be me. Don't fall for it. With that said, let's dive in. Now, EIP 1559 here, burning $1 million worth of Ethereum in just one day, maybe not even a one day here, is one of the most incredible things we've seen. And this is foreshadowing a much more significant supply shock coming to Ethereum. You need Ethereum if you want to do the biggest, most trustworthy DeFi. You need Ethereum if you want to trade on the biggest DEX, of course, Uniswap. You need Ethereum if you want to get access to all of the most compelling and exciting NFTs. You need Ethereum to play. Ethereum is not just the base currency for the ETH blockchain, it is the access to an entirely new digital world, and we're seeing this take shape. That is why I'm not like necessarily an ETH maximalist, but I'm definitely an ETH long-term believer, and I believe strongly, just like bandwidth in the 90s was a big blocker to success, we're going to see an unblocking of the transactions per second and the throughput on Ethereum, and Ethereum will become, I believe, one of the most dominant pieces of technology in the history of humanity for the next several decades. That's my belief, and I actually want to claim a little clout here. Look, I wasn't perfect when I was calling these moves here. I'll go through these videos here because I know that people are going to say, oh, you're being bullish, Elliot, but you said it was a bear market. What is it? And I get it, right? Like, this whole correction had really thrown me for a loop. So I'm going to go through some of the things I said and why I said them. Now, I did say bear market here and what happens now. And this was in mid-June. And this was after we had gotten rejected from that 42 breakout. But even after that, I talked very shortly about the Ethereum triple halving, which was something that I am very, 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 here you go, about 2.5 weeks ago. And this, for reference, was here on July 17th. And I said to myself, all right, look, what's happening with Ethereum as we lead up into this halving and the price action and what's going on with NFTs led me to believe that there had to be some positive price action. Now, on the 17th of July, it wasn't the exact bottom. We were down here at about 1,800 something. So it marked pretty close to the bottom of this move, this W bottom. And if we do blast off from here, which it certainly feels like Ethereum's getting more valuable, not less, that would be a pretty solid call on my behalf. Now, I did mess up and I did sell some alts at low values. I was pretty sure that those would get crabbed out. Some of them did crash much further since I called that I sold some of my alts. However, I was able to parlay that into Ethereum and into lots of NFTs, which went absolutely parabolic, as we'll show you at the end of the episode. So, you know, it's not so simple as I just called the bear market and then that was it. I called the bear market and then I kept incessantly researching, which is why I always tell you guys not to turn away from crypto because things do happen here. And I started bringing attention to NFTs like crazy in June. And then over the course of July, I started talking about very early on the Axie Infinity trend, which went parabolic along with all the gaming coins, and as well just covering the insane growth of Ethereum and all the big wallets moving into Ethereum and avatar projects, all of which did just insanely well. So I'm very happy. I wasn't perfect throughout this correction, and I don't believe that the correction is necessarily over, but I am feeling like this is really constructive and this is very encouraging what we're seeing with price action. Could it be a bull trap? Could this be the bull trap that we were talking about, how we see, essentially a retest of this head and shoulders neckline that we're going to get rejected from? Sure, it could be the case. Hard to say. whether or not we'll get rejected here once we go and actually really take a try higher. But for now, it does feel as though there's a lot of strength in the market. There's a lot of renewed energy for buying. There's a lot of fears of inflation and monetary policy fueling more Bitcoin buying. And there's even a potential for an ETF kind of looming. So all of these things are very, very constructive. And a big prolonged bear market is starting to seem less and less likely. Like I said, guys, I'm going to do my best to get it right. I wasn't right about the bear market, but I was right very shortly thereafter about the NFTs and Ethereum runs. And I even mentioned, of course, Luna, and I mentioned Rune, and I mentioned a few of these other coins that have done fantastically over the recent days as well as the gaming and NFT coin hype. So I didn't get it all right, but I did my best to continue to get it right. And I'm going to keep pushing to go deeper and deeper into NFTs and different types of opportunities. You know, one of my favorite things in the world is just to cover the coins that I think are super undervalued and ignored by the market. It's what I love to do. I'm trying to do it without creating hype, but it's just what I love to do. So, you know, in the end, I'm going to cover coins I like. I'm going to cover coins I think are undervalued. Everyone needs to learn to educate themselves and figure out their own risk tolerances, but that's the content I like to make. So I'm going to get back to making it. Now in Bitcoin land, we see fresh ETF hopes as BTC swiftly rallies above 40K. Now remember, as we're doing this dance back and forth, these are the really important levels. 42 here, or 42K is a huge level. So breaking through 42K will bring us up to this point of resistance here around 45, just under 45. It's a significant area. You can see we played around with it a bunch here. We topped, actually no, it was all throughout this area. So if we break through, we'll probably get a test around 45 as Crown was saying. And then if we break through that, it's about 49.50 are the next areas of significant resistance. If we start breaking through 50, I'm going to become the most obnoxious bull ever again, closing candles and holding above there and growing with strength, because it does look like at that point we're going to all-time highs. So if we actually look at the 2017 fractal and get a little bit of historical comparison here, we had not quite as long of a correction as we've had here, but we had this collapse down from about 3 times the previous all-time high. Previous all-time high was like 1100. So we went from 1100 to 3000, right? About 3x. And then we crashed down to about 1900. So this time we went from 20K to about 60K, a little over 3x, and then we crashed down to about, 2,900, a little under half, right? So, these aren't too dissimilar, right? 3K to 1,900, 64K to 29K. It was a more significant correction this time. But then what I want to draw attention to is we had this rally from the 1,900 level, or from the 1,900 level here, all the way up to 20,000. So just call this a 10x from the lows. So if we repeat this fractal, we might be looking at a 10x from the lows of 29,000, which would give us, just under 300 grand per Bitcoin. That might be too optimistic, especially after the push and pull. I would say that's probably way too optimistic. But it's just something to consider that, these prior fractals would say, hey, look, if this was just a correction, a consolidation, then we could be looking for some pretty astronomical new highs on top of where we were. So that's the bull case. That's the optimistic case. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that it's hard not to get excited when you see this constructive price action. And I'm even monitoring my own emotions here because I don't want to get FOMO'd in and bull trapped, because that's the big thing. Emotions will always get the best of you. And I'm starting to feel quite emotionally bullish. Now we also have a little bit of push and pull, a little bit of a boxing match here between the CFTC and as well as the SEC, where new chair Gary Gensler is making a lot of statements about cryptocurrencies, and the SEC, or the CFTC rather, is saying, hey, look, this is our area. We regulate assets and commodities. You stay away from us. This is not your area. So there's actually a lot of internal strife here to figure out who is the person to regulate these assets. Very, very interesting. And we're seeing, again, history being written right in front of us. It's quite a time to be alive. And these types of huge transitions and changes in society only happen once every never. And to be alive, to be a part of this, you're living through history, and you're also living through these crises, these insanely tumultuous opportunities that present wild, wild chances for breakout success, like we're seeing with DeFi, NFTs, altcoins, Web3, layer 1 blockchains. The transformative wealth building opportunities here are insane. Now that comes hand in hand with transformative wealth destructive techniques, like when you buy at the top and then you sell at the bottom. So you got to understand, you can't have parabolic growth without essentially parabolic crashes or exponential declines. They go hand in hand. It's always been the way it is. And that's why I preach taking profits. If y'all are new here and you're just getting into crypto or NFTs, learn to take profits, learn to sell periodically at specified targets, or you will end up losing. Most people lose money even in bull markets. It's a fact. So learn to take profits. We also have this particular tax rule that's being proposed, which essentially is part of this infrastructure bill. And Brian Armstrong commented on this. Now, I'm actually going to bring up a tweet that I had here. It's on my page. I retweeted this tweet by Niraj, and you guys should definitely please go to my Twitter right now and go, if you're American, call your local representative, click on this, follow the instructions, and call your local representative, because this particular phrasing of the new infrastructure bill has a hastily prepared new piece of legislation that would be horrific for crypto and imposes widespread surveillance on the whole industry. This is a horrible, horrible thing for crypto. Please go call your local representatives. We have to band together, act swiftly, and make sure that this does not happen. It is critical. Please, everyone go together and contact your representatives if you're American, please. Now we're diving into some altcoin news. Again, like I'm saying, DeFi a couple of days, as I tweeted, looked really bottomed and reversed. And since then, a lot of coins have been popping. Category by category though, and I love this new categories tab. You can see in coins here, you can go to categories here on CoinGecko, and you can see category by category how different things are rotating, which is really, really useful, because before you had to track your own categories and know that certain coins of a certain narrative or category were pumping. And here you can see all the different sort of sub narratives here, whether it's Polkadot, whether it's ETH 2.0, perps, whether you have lending and borrowing options. These are all derivatives, by the way. It's really interesting to see. Staking mechanisms like ETH2. I pointed out a bunch of these last year, like Rocket Pool and Lido. Very, very cool stuff. And so you can actually get a sense here of where, gaming and NFT, yield farming, governance, all these different types of narratives and trends. It's a really, really cool tool to see all these categories. So I highly recommend checking them out. But nothing, and I mean nothing, is as bullish as NFTs right now. It is absolutely insane. It is JPEG euphoria. And while people don't necessarily understand this trend, I can say with high confidence that certain assets within this world appear as if they're set into a Bitcoin-like trajectory where they will continue to appreciate probably forever. That being first and foremost CryptoPunks, which we've been talking about for a very long time. Now, the second asset class that is really, really interesting here is Bored Apes. Now, Bored Apes I've been talking about since early June, since they hit their first 1 ETH sort of floor price. And I'm really kicking myself because I was gonna buy like 10 or 20 Bored Apes at that point, and I just didn't. I bought a few. I definitely have a pretty sick collection of apes, and I got some really early on, and then I grew my collection. But man, did I miss my chance to really go shopping. Though I did add a few to my collection recently. This is just an absolutely ridiculous chart. Look at this. I've been talking about Bored Apes like crazy throughout June, and look at the average price has gone from about 1 Ethereum to now the average price here is 25 Ethereum. So that's insane growth. That's probably one of the best calls I've had ever in my career here on YouTube. And as you can see, just the volume as measured by these little blue bars at the bottom, and the average price are just growing, skyrocketing on breakout volume. It's what you love to see. So this is a mega trend. All the apes, people know what they're holding. It's very hard to get people to sell apes for anything other than ridiculously high prices. And everyone wants an ape. Everyone wants to join. All the celebrities want them. All the influencers want them. Brands, and everyone wants this. So it's crazy. How do you get something to go down in value when the demand is growing so much faster than the supply? Now, that's not true of every NFT. There's a lot of NFTs that will be saturated, and NFT market as a whole has way too much supply coming in. But these OG collections that get themselves established and get some hype and get some traction, here you go, another one 2 minutes ago, just now, we got a sale of this Bored Ape for 50 Ethereum. Pretty crazy. It's a cool ape. It's got the beanie, it's got the 3D glasses, and the robot suit and the leather jacket. They're all pretty rare traits here. Not super rare though. There's nothing 1% or below. The rarest trait here is the leather jacket and the death bot. But it's a cool ape. It's aesthetic. But what I wanted to point out here was I talked yesterday or 2 days ago on Non-Fungible Tuesdays, as well as a couple of days before that, about curio cards. Now, there's a big rush right now to get into historic NFTs, things that were created before 2018. And this includes things like CryptoPunks. It includes things of historic nature. And there's one particular collection that always kind of baffled me, because curio cards actually predates CryptoPunks, and it's considered the first NFT. And its original, CryptoPunks, in order to get one, is like minimum now almost 100 grand. But this curio cards you can actually get, as you're seeing, for like less than 1 ETH for a lot of them. And so I was saying on my stream the other day, I was like, look, like given the way the market is aggressively trying to get these historic assets, it's only a matter of time, you'd imagine, before curio cards start picking up steam. And look at this breakout. Just in the last couple of days, you're seeing the average price go from literally 0.2 or 0.1 to 2 where is it? Average price is 2.6, right? So that is an over 10x, 1000% breakout on insane volume. I mean, look at the volume over the whole history. And look at the volume yesterday. Volume yesterday is 2,100 Ethereum. That's almost $4.5 million in volume in trading yesterday. And the whole history of this, that's half the volume that ever occurred yesterday. Or actually, let me see in all-time lifetime. Yeah, so almost half the volume all time occurred yesterday. Pretty absolutely nuts. So that's what's going on with NFTs. Is there is absolute euphoria, pandemonium. Does this mean that the top is in? Does this mean that the moment is done? I think that it's going to be a very strongly debated thing. Everyone's going to want to say the top is in constantly on this. And it's definitely good to take profits. Again, if you're up more than 2 or 5x on something and you're not taking any profits, then that's up to you and you're choosing to leave profits on the table. And if there is a crash in the future, then it is your choice to have left those profits on the table, and you got greedy, you got emotional. Now, the reality is that some of these things, though, the bull case here is that my apes, even though I literally bought an ape the other day and I didn't realize I actually bought the floor trait of one of these apes. So I have some of my favorite traits for apes. And I look for the cheapest versions of those traits so I could see if I could get like a deal on them. And I bought an ape that had one of my favorite traits. And then when I took it off the market, the next highest one that had that trait was over 2x the price of my ape purchase. So I ended up, without knowing it, kind of raising the floor price of that trait to like a pretty high, over 60 Ethereum now. And so that was pretty cool. And this is the same thing that you can do is by getting really familiar with one of these collections, 2 of these collections, like curio cards, like apes, like punks. These are things that you can really actively trade, especially in this bull market. The thing to do is you find a trait or you find a subcategory of these that are not getting as much love, that are maybe undervalued compared to the others, and you try to sort of pick off some bargain ones. And then when the market moves on that trait, you can make some really good gains. Again, super experimental. NFTs are very much so in price discovery. They'll probably crash like crazy, so you got to treat these as experiments and as very risky. Now that said, this is absolutely incredible to see. This breakout on Bored Apes and the breakout on curio cards is just a marvel to behold. I mean, look at these charts. That is some of the most bullish stuff in all of crypto land. So absolutely amazing. Well, there you have it. Ethereum is the most bullish thing in crypto right now, and it's powered by the explosive growth of the NFT industry, which you need ETH to play ball in. And is it a surprise that some of these historic collections are going parabolic, like punks, curio cards, Bored Apes? I told you for months about this trend, and if you've been participating, then congrats to you. Just because I cover something doesn't mean it's easy to actually play ball, so if you've made gains, you deserve a pat on the back. Of course, I want to reiterate things are experimental, so make sure you take profits, make sure you do your own research, and make sure you're comfortable investing in or buying whatever it is you're buying. As always, if you got some value out of this, if you're excited for me to bring you the absolute biggest and best trends in crypto earlier than anyone else in the industry, then all you have to do is subscribe and put that bell notification on. Again, please smash that like button, and remember, each and every comment on this video is entered to win your own hardware wallet. We're about to give one away right now. So if you did comment on any of the recent 14 videos, you're about to be entered to win. Hang tight. We're about to give one out right now. All right, we're going to generate a number right now. We get number 3. Going to YouTube here, we're going to say 1, 2, 3. We have the video with Zeneca33 here. And we will go ahead and take this, put it in our random comment picker, and find ourselves a winner. And we have our winner, Guts. The $1,000 tuition fee couldn't be more true. Still holding a bag on my first project. I've since learned so much about the space and have made multiples. Great videos. Zeneca is one of the good ones. Guts, make sure you reach out to me on Telegram, tweet at me on Twitter, get my attention somehow, and I will get you this hardware wallet. Thank you so much for playing. Everybody keep commenting. We'll make sure you enter to win on the next giveaway. And with that said, I hope you guys are happy and healthy, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.